Before I go to the beliefs that are found in Hinduism, I need to explain the difference between the kind of religion that was prevalent in Indus Valley and later Hinduism. I also need to explain the use of the words maintenance religion and religions with moral codes. So here goes. A maintenance religion generally refers to an early religion with no moral code. In these religions, humans usually end up making sacrifices to the gods so that the gods are going to be maintained and also so that the people can keep the gods on their good side. The purpose of this is to make things work well here so that we can maintain life. And I'm stressing maintain because that's where we're getting the word that describes these religions, maintenance religions. We just want to make things work here. In this belief system, the gods depend on humans for worship and for sacrifice. That's how the gods survive. And in return, the gods will maintain balance and order here. In Hindu myths, for example, over and over again, we hear about Hindu divine beings who are slaying demons. These demons represent chaos or disorder that the gods are quelling in order to restore balance, harmony, order, or as a Hindu might say, Rita. The Indus Valley civilization held on to a maintenance faith. They were a people who held, I'm going to say, relatively direct and simplified beliefs about a cult of nature, about a belief in a fertility religion. As religion develops in India, it is going to develop a moral code. Religions with moral codes are going to add a layer of philosophy, making humans responsible for their actions here or in the afterlife. In Islam, for instance, which we've just looked at, we know that humans are judged after death and rewarded with paradise or punished with hell. In Hinduism, it's karma that does this. It becomes the ultimate form of justice. Okay, in religions with moral codes, and that would include the developed form of Hinduism, individuals shift away from rituals, that's sacrifices. Simply, we're going to burn a goat to the gods to make the gods happy. Well, we begin to realize that's not enough. These later religions are going to focus more on ideas, behavior, and questions about the purpose of life. The transition from maintenance to moral code does show itself in the Upanishads. The Upanishads are the late portion of the Vedic text. Prior to that, people paid limited attention to what happens to an individual's afterlife. Modern Hindu beliefs are a direct product of those writings found in the Upanishads. This is a slide that kind of sums that up. The Upanishads are the later part, the last part of the Vedas. They're a philosophical explanation for the earlier texts, very sacred texts that are believed to be revealed. They do question the emphasis on ritual and maintaining things, just simply maintaining things. They also, and I would like to stress this, begin to rely on yoga and meditation as tools to go beyond the ordinary world to find a deeper understanding of the meaning of things. So within Hinduism, yoga and meditation will be built into the religious practice for purposes of enhancing our understanding and our well being. We are going to start asking really tough questions about the self. And by the self, I mean the individual. Why are we here? What are we supposed to do? What's our purpose? And perhaps most important to many people, what happens to us after we die? They also ask the questions about the beginning of things, the reason for things, and the origin of the world. The rough dates, and again, there's no single date for anything here, but the rough dates would come in around 700 to 200 BCE for the Upanishads being created. Again, there's a blending, a mixing. Oral tradition is a part of it, and we are building and growing. Think again, we're throwing another ingredient into the soup that we are constructing. This is a list of the terms that you probably ought to be familiar with so that you can discuss Hinduism and, most importantly for our course, discuss the art that was created to serve the faith. And art in Hinduism is incredibly important. Okay, let's start with probably the most important word on my list, and that's samsara. Samsara is reincarnation. It means essentially the continual cycles of death, birth, a rebirth is probably the better term, so that you continue your individual spirit, soul, essence, and in Hinduism, the word is right down here, Atman. That is your individual spirituality, your essence. That is going to continue to be, I'm going to use the word recycled, continue to be recycled until it is purified and perfected enough so that it can merge again with the single absolute or the Brahman. And that is number 4 on my list right here. The single absolute in a monotheistic worldview would be the one God, the divine essence, the entity, the spirit, essentially. And each and every one of us has a tiny little piece of this in us. We need to perfect that through, in the case of many Hindus believe, of living many, many lives until we can finally get it right, until we can finally improve ourselves, purify ourselves enough so that we are able to reintegrate once again with the single absolute. A very important part of this is karma. Karma is truly the ultimate justice, form of ultimate justice. And it doesn't matter, you can't get a good enough lawyer to change your karma. Karma is the outcome of your actions. If you have lived a terrible life, you are going to be almost certainly punished, if not in the immediate next rebirth, the rebirths following that. And the way in which you will be punished will be to have your new birth appear in a lower level of the caste system. So you are going to be put back until you can learn to get it right, purifying yourself until you can move up in the caste system. Okay, I want to make it clear then that believing in karma does tend to solidify belief in the caste system. It is reinforcing, essentially. Okay, now if you were a good person in this life, you can, of course, come in your next life, or perhaps the life after that, into a higher caste on the list of varnas that we have taken a look at. The bottom line is that in each lifetime, we strive to achieve release from samsara so that we don't have to continue being born over and over and over again. Now, to us in the West, we might at first think, oh, hey, that's not so bad. It beats dying. But I want you to think about that for a minute. I want you to think about how hard life is. So ask yourself if you would endlessly want to come back over and over again to go through 4 years of gaining an education, then getting a job, working throughout your lifetime, raising your own family, watching your parents die, and watching yourself grow old and die as well. Many Hindus have decided that that isn't something that they want to do eternally, so they seek release. The word that is used is moksha. I don't think we need to have a lot of terms, so I didn't put it on the list. I think release will do for us, but that is the ultimate goal, to be released so that we can again merge with the single absolute or with Brahman. I did put a note on here, please be careful. One of the major divine beings in Hinduism is the god Brahma. He forms a kind of triumvirate, a group of 3 male deities, Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma. And of course, we've already encountered the word Brahman, which is located right here, which is the top caste. This would be in particular, usually when we say Brahman, we're talking about a Brahmin priest. I'd also like to bring it to your attention again that built into Hinduism, yoga and meditation are tools to help us to improve our karma, to attain understanding and awareness so that we can get beyond the illusion and the distractions of this world. As a part of our attempt to improve our karma, we are going to connect with the gods. And we're going to do that in a number of ways for our purposes. One of the most important is going to be puja. And that refers to making prayers, engaging in ritual actions, making offerings to the gods. And as a part of that, artworks are going to be primary. So we're going to take a moment now to take a look at some of the Hindu creations in art.